right? Do you see that? Bash bar, boys. Bam! Hey everybody, it's Rob here, bringing you the Barbarian Bash Lilith killer build. This is one of the easiest builds to kill Uber Lilith and frankly any Uber boss as you've seen in the intro. The build is extremely strong and you don't need any Uber unique. You can play with a Harlequin's Crest, but it's not needed at all. In fact, I just have my random helmet that I used on day one before I had Harlequin's Crest that I'm gonna be trying now here for the Uber boss. So you need to make sure, if you want to do Lilith, this is like the main reason of this build, because many people ask me, I'm going to have the full planner with no Uber version and Uber version linked in the description. We're going to talk about all of it in this video. And I'll show you a couple of things and a couple of nice strategies and tips to bring down Lilith. So first thing you want to make sure of is that you have enough movement speed for Lilith phase 2 to outrun the skulls. So what I do, I just have my normal push amulet, and I have another amulet here that I can just simply switch in whenever we are facing phase 2. So this is just a movement speed amulet that helps you out a lot. You also want to make sure you have the right build guide, obviously, like follow the plan in the description. And we are mainly focused about DPS. But we also have a very healthy health pool here, quite a lot, and we also have armor cap. Obviously right now, because I have a random helm, I usually wear Shaco. 9,230 armor. And then ideally, you also want to have some res here. Right now, I'm rocking this res. And if you want to buff up yourself, like really big, you can use the Soothing Spice. This is a very nice magic instance that is very cheap to craft. And it gives you 10 all res plus 1 maximum. So you see here, once I consume this, my resistance goes up like crazy. And then there is 2 elixirs you can use to pre-buff yourself. So I like to have the attack speed. But you can only have up to 100% attack speed from your gear. Since I got a triple attack speed roll on my gloves, I don't need it. So I'm gonna use a crit chance elixir. And crit chance will help you a lot. You notice here we stack a lot of crit chance and we have a lot of more crit chance buffs. Even we have 73% crit chance. We get another 5% more from our Paragon and we get another 9% more from our skills. So we're actually rocking like 85% plus critical strike chance. And that is going to be very important later on. But don't worry, if you have like 60% crit chance, you'll be quite okay. But crit chance is basically so good because of our Hammer of the Ancients, giving us extra damage when we overpower, and our Bash enabling our Hammer of the Ancients to overpower. So we can use the last Bash rune here after critically striking 4 times with Bash while using a 2-handed weapon. So we have Bash assigned to our bludgeoning 2-handed weapon. It's working very well with this combination, and then you can overpower with Hammer of the Ancients, giving you a 1.3 multiplicative buff from the hammer, and also another 10% here from our Decimator Paragon board. So that makes it extremely strong, about 40% more damage when you only use your Hammer of the Ancients once. Then we also have the Steel Grasp here to keep the enemy vulnerable and also to keep up our Berserking. We have a lot of Berserking uptime in our Paragon board here right now. So we have Berserking duration here and we have Berserking duration here. That helps you out a lot. So now that you have the movement speed fixed, you have your armor cap, you have your res cap basically, you're pretty much good to go. Like we have full DPS, and whenever we want to engage the boss, we want to use Rallying Cry so we don't get a knockback. I will show this and then we'll do a run. Show this here real quick. So right at the start, you notice here, this is the footage of me playing it. We were actually carrying 4 people through it. So you just go in and you already press Rallying Cry so you don't get knocked down, because she will do a knockback if I don't do it. And you want to keep your inner calm buff. It's giving you 30% X damage on your inner calm buff. So you can see here, when I do this, and she comes down, she doesn't knock me back at all. Here, do this. So I'm super okay not getting knocked back. And then we use our shouts, we use our Call of the Ancients. Then we make sure that we have 4 stacks. And when we have 4 stacks, you use your Hammer of the Ancients. You see when the buff is up down here. Then you use your Steel Grasp to also proc your Pain Gonglers, make the boss vulnerable. And then you can see like your damage going crazy. You guys can see here the crazy hits we do. We also have a bunch of bleed damage. You see she's already bleeding for 25 million damage as well. And our hits are in the hundreds of millions. And then basically when she's coming down again, she's basically already dead. I can also like completely one-face her. You might have seen it in the intro. Sometimes you also like completely kill her instantly. And then what's also very important, when those guys come down, you can use your Steel Grasp again to kind of like pixel them all together and just kill them instantly. And then I usually tank one of the waves, but you don't have to. You can also dodge them. But the slam pattern is still a bit harder to dodge. But yeah, so basically the rotation is rallying, like do both of your war cries when she comes down, basically rallying cry slightly earlier. Activate your Coda. Make sure to have 4 stacks of bash. Then you do your Hammer of the Ancients to overpower. Then Steel Grasp and then just bash, bash, bash. 4 seconds until she goes away. And then you do the same thing when she comes back down. So that is pretty crazy. And this is my current gear here. I don't even have everything masterworked. My gloves are kind of nice. But you kind of want to create the crit chance here as well, ideally. I got the tech speed, so I was pretty okay with that. Ranks to bash. Warlock boots here. I'll explain this all when we go over the planner at the end here. Moonrise. A Ghoul Blade. So there's all the damage basically. And we also don't need the Bolts Chieftain. Instead we play Berserk Ripping. So we are berserking and we're also doing more bleed damage thanks to that. And then the amulet here we also go full DPS. And again we have the movement speed switch. But this one helps a lot to outrun the scout. Like if I just switch to this, I just run faster. You don't have to do this if you have an amulet with movement speed. So if this one, instead of attack speed or cooldown, had movement speed, it would be fine. I could also roll it, but I don't want to waste the gold, because rerolling is pretty expensive. So just have a... This is my old amulet, I just have it as a switch item. Just make sure you have the aspect there, so you don't lose out on the damage. So yeah, then we pre-buff ourselves, and we basically go to Lilith. You can also do this with any normal Uber boss, like you just like bash them down, basically. And see, like now we're not playing any Shaco, so we have a bit overkill armor, but that's okay. And yeah, let's just go up to her. So first thing, we do Rallying Cry. We stand still and we wait. Boom, boom, Oda. And then we use our stuff. See, and she already took a lot of damage. And now she comes down again. Hoda, our stuff. And she's basically at 1 HP now. Now you pull all these in. Make this. And then I like to do this, because then I can like headbang her. And I only get hit by 1 wave. This is if you have enough DPS. You can do the rotation twice if you don't have enough DPS to instantly kill her. Well, and now phase 2 begins, basically. And here you want to make sure you switch to the movement speed after you damaged her. So you just wait until she spawns. You can do your Ancients like a little early. Do your War Cries, Hammer, boom. And then we just DPS her. Can do another Steel Grasp. We DPS her more. Then we switch our stuff. If you're advanced, you can also switch in Challenging Shout if you skilled it, but it's not going to be necessary. So here I like to get my Steel Grasp as well, because it gives me berserking. Oh, I got stuck there for a sec. That shouldn't happen, but it's fine. I only got hit once. So there's like sometimes it's actually pretty good that this happened in the video, because sometimes the floor has a few cracks in it and you can get stuck on there if you're not careful. But basically you just need the right amount of movement speed and you don't need to do anything but move. You see this here? I can just move normally if you have the right amount of movement speed. I think it's about 180%. And you can just move. You don't even need to do any attacks or anything, and you just move. And the timing will work out pretty perfectly if you have the right amount of movement speed. And you can press your shouts, right, to move even faster, but you don't have to do it. And then I recommend another use of Rallying Cry at the very end, just because she does a knockback in the end, so it's very good if you have your Rallying Cry to be unsolvable. That's how you kill Lilith, without any Uber Uniques, nothing. And yeah, sometimes here there is these little rocks where you can get stuck on. So like I did up there, I don't recommend, like, you know, kissing the wall. I recommend, like, you know, running close to the wall, but not at the wall, because you can get stuck there on, like, these tiny pixels that just sometimes stuck your character if you approach them in a different angle. And it happened to me up there. So you just want to be careful that you don't completely run against the wall. And I always like to run clockwise. And my movement speed, and this is the sweet spot of movement speed right now in the game, is about 160, 165. So again, now I can, like for the next fight, I can just switch back my amulet to the non-movement speed one. But again, you can just have movement speed normally on your amulet. Yeah, in fact, my amulet is kind of bad. Like the best amulet would be, I didn't even masterwork it, but the best amulet would be if you have, for the boss, you go full DPS. You have crit chance, attack speed, and then instead of cooldown, you go for +2 in counter offensive or +2 in heavy-handed for even more DPS. But then again, it's not necessary completely. But yeah, so that's basically my setup and my gear. So just a lot of DPS. I can show you the stats as well. So these are my stats right now. It's obviously buffed stats, like no uber uniques, nothing. Obviously the Shaco is still better, but you don't need to use it. So this is like the resistances. And again, my planner always is kept with the Soothing Spice. And the only reason I don't have Shadow Res kept is because my ring now is for Fire Res. And the Fire Res, I think, is the same res that I have here. So that's usually one avoidance. I could fix this by rolling this one here to Shadow Res and then putting Fire Res in this one. But this is what I always like to do. Like get 2 single res rolls. It's better than all res. Get 2 single res rolls on anywhere on your gear. And then just use the other 3 colors as gems in your jewelry. And you will be fine with your resistances. If you're doing a Soothing Spice, you don't need to do any more investment than that. That's it. 2 single res rolls, 3 jewelries of different colors. And then smoke a Soothing Spice for the boss kill. Easy peasy. Doesn't get any easier than that. And yeah, that's pretty much the rotation. Then we have X expertise here for 1.1x vulnerable. We have the skill tree. It looks like this. So we go full bash, we go combat bash for the Hoda stuff. Another 1.3x here. And we have a lot of defense. Even if she hits us, we're not dying. We have Fortify. This is our bleed sources here. We don't need the Power Warcry rune anymore because we are just fighting a single target. So just 1 point in Warcry, 1 point here. Duration, movement speed here, very important. Aggressive resistance. You can put some more points in No Mercy, but since I don't stagger the boss, it's not really necessary to have this one. Then we have Pit Fighter, Slaying Strike, Steel Grasp, Counter Offensive, Heavy-Handed, Wallop, and also I have 2 points in Concussion, but these are not even necessary. I could put all these points again here. You can switch it around, but if you're not staggering at all, you can also just max out your Warcry because you go from 15% damage to 19. So this is another like 4.5% damage you could do. Will probably be the best setup right now because I don't need to stagger, my damage is high enough. But it's a valuable strategy if you don't have high damage. I mean, again, like my gear is not like fully masterworked and stuff, and I didn't hit like bash a lot and stuff. So there's still a lot of room for improvement for sure. I only have 1 bash roll here, for example. There's still a lot of room for improvement. And again, if you feel like you're dying, you can also do this strategy and just, after you killed her with Call of the Ancients, you can just switch in Challenging Shout for the final phase and get another 40% damage reduction and 20% more life. That's also an option, but I don't really need to do this on my current character because this character is already pretty powerful and pretty tanky. But that is definitely an option if you feel like you might be dying. And yeah, that's pretty much the setup. Paragon tree. So we have a very well-balanced tree. It's not full DPS, you have a lot of toughness. So we have Exploit in the starter board, Territorial here in the Warbringer board. We have Carnage here with Ire. Then we have Might in the Hemorrhage board. We have Blood Rage, Marshal, we have Decimator, Undaunted, and watch here how many life nodes we have. We have all the life nodes here, we have all the life nodes here, and we're also gonna have all the life nodes here. And this is where we have Bloodfeeder, another 5 crit, and again, we trigger our bleeds whenever the boss just attacks us once. So very easy. And we also have bleed from our Berserk Ripping, so we have bleed all the time anyways. And we get another 5% crit bonus, and this really helps you to reach insane amounts of crits, so like 80% crit chance or something is possible. If I had a greater FX here and I Masterworker, you can get to 100% crit chance in this build. And yeah, it just helps you a lot with all the stuff, and I really like it. But yeah, that's basically how you can kill Lilith, and all the other Uber bosses are pretty comfortable. Like most of them, at least if you're alone, you just walk up to them and you can just kill them. But again, the build is also very tanky. As long as you avoid their mechanics, you're not gonna get that many stacks, and you can, like, even if you have half my damage or something, like, you're gonna kill them very comfortably. This was me, like, you know, a couple of days ago, like on day 2, I think, making this clip here on Uber Beast and Ice. And yeah, it's a very easy fight as well if you have enough damage. And the same goes for Lilith. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this overview and this helped you. And obviously, like, the build even gets stronger if you put in Uber uniques, such as the Shaco. And this is usually the normal setup that I play. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the overview. And good luck with those boss fights. I think it's going to be very comfortable. Let me know in the comments how it goes. And I'll see you soon. GG. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment. I'm also live on Twitch almost every day, so come and say hi.